Good afternoon and welcome to the Bellefleur Tire Shop Grand Falls Rapids pregame show. There is lots to talk about on the show today as the Rapids are at home facing off against the Truro Bearcats in a rematch after their 5-1 loss in Truro less than a week ago. Currently, the Bearcats sitting in fourth place in the East Link South Division, 3 points behind the Pictou County Weeks Crushers for that third place spot, who have 40 points. Meanwhile, the Grand Falls Rapids sit 21 points behind the Miramichi Timberwolves for that fourth and final playoff spot in the East Link North Division. Here is how the stats are stacking up right now. The Rapids on the season, 9-21, 1-5 on the year. The Bearcats, on the other hand, 18-1 on the season, playing exactly at 500 hockey. When it comes to their goals for and their goals against, Truro has the leg up a little bit. Grand Falls rather has the leg up a little bit. Grand Falls 123 goals for, 163 goals against, and the Truro Bearcats with the least goals for and goals against in the East Link South Division, 103 goals for and 107 goals against. So you're going to watch out for that. We'll talk about that one in just a moment here. Their power play is stacking up against each other. The Grand Falls Rapids with the worst power play in the division, third worst in the league overall. At 16.9%. The Truro Bearcats, on the other hand, 15.3% on the power play. And their penalty kills stack up against each other pretty well as well. The Truro Bearcats with the best penalty kill in the league at 85.7%. And the Grand Falls Rapids with the fourth worst power play in the league at 75% even. Well, it is Bearcats Day here at the Seps, and I will say this, it's going to be an exciting one. We saw last week, that was their second game back on their Nova Scotia road trip after the trade deadline, so the team was still gelling together, but they ended up getting crushed 5-1. This game's going to be a little bit more interesting, I think, because there's going to be some bad blood there. You saw, and even the commentators were acknowledging the fact that despite these two teams not playing each other a lot this year, there was quite a bit of physicality ramping up over the course of that game last week. And I think that's going to carry over into this game a little bit. But we're going to talk a little bit about how the Bearcats have been doing since their last game here, and obviously the Grand Falls Rapids looking to rebound off of that 8-0 loss on Friday night to the Edmonton Blizzard and looking to get back into the win column and start towards their quest to 500 hockey and get that gelling going on this team as well. So leading the way for the Bearcats in points overall, the captain, Zach Marquis, 37 points in 37 games. He's a point per game this season. Also leading the way in goals, but newly acquired Bearcat Ben DeYoung leading the way in assists. And for the Grand Falls Rapids, it is the captain Jonah Laird with 49 points in 36 games, leading the way in both goals and assists with 21 goals and 28 assists. Now, this is going to be, like I mentioned, a little bit of an interesting matchup because Truro, in their last couple of games, they had 4 games over the past 5 days, and so far they have not won once. They're 0-3, just suffered a loss to the Edmonton Blizzard last night, so they are going to be hungry for a win here tonight as well. They lost 7-2. Before that, we'll pull up how they were doing before that as well. So it was a 7-2 loss to the Edmonton Blizzard last night. They were in Summerside, lost 4-2 there, and then they were at home to face off against the Amherst Ramblers, and they lost 3-1 there as well. So their last 3 games, they are 0-3 since facing the Rapids. And it's going to be, I think, a game where both teams are going to be frustrated. They're both going to want to come out here and win, and I think it's going to come down to who wants to win it more, right? Because, yes, Truro is on a 3-game losing streak, but Grand Falls, they're not only just on a 5-game losing streak, So they've lost 2 more games than the Bearcats have, but they are looking to take some royalties, take some revenge over the Truro Bearcats, not only for beating them 5-1, but they also want to get back and avenge that loss that was 8-0 on Friday night against Edmundston. And for those who saw the game, you saw what it was. For those who didn't, that's how it went. I would expect this game to be quite a bit physical. I mean, both teams, like I mentioned, are going to be frustrated. They're going to want it. They are going to want to make sure that they get the first goal. It doesn't matter what happens, how it happens. At all costs, they want to make sure that they are getting that first goal on the board, and they want to get it early. Last game, we saw the Blizzard score 15 seconds into the game. The Rapids obviously want to capitalize on that and make sure that they are not letting up the first goal, especially that early into the game. That kind of halted their momentum a little bit. So the keys to the game for today, you're going to want to watch for the Rapids to score that first goal. Obviously, getting on the board, we've talked about this numerous times this season. Getting on the board early is what brings their momentum up and will give them an opportunity to carry that momentum through the first period. Once we've seen them get the ball rolling, it doesn't usually stop there. When they get that first goal, they start going on a bit of a high, and they will play like they want to dominate the rest of the game. Second key to the game, you need to have solid defense and solid goaltending. The Rapids last game did not play bad. Contrary to what the score sheet says, they did not play bad. The goals that were scored were caught at bad times. So when you're catching your defenseman pinching, or if they're out of position, it makes it easy to get those shots on net and get them past the goaltender. We'll see who's starting tonight. Maybe it's Adam LaCour. Maybe it will be Loic Nadeau. Whoever starts, though, give them a little bit of support on the defense up front. And the other thing is capitalize on their 5-on-5. Now, I usually don't say prioritize 5-on-5 over the power play, but given how the Rapids power play historically has been this season, it's not really going to do them any favors, especially against a top-ranked penalty kill like Truro. I mean, we're talking a team that has struggled this season. They started off their season 0-12. Just to give you a little bit of an idea. They've come back another 4th place in the division. They have a better penalty kill than the first place overall Edmundston Blizzard. So yes, they may not be a force in the Eastling South Division quite yet, but they're a team who's ready to do some damage and prevent any goals from being scored on their penalty kill. And just to give you an idea of how incredible it's really been, they are in the league currently with power play goals against. They sit at the absolute lowest in the league with 16 power play goals against through those 37 games that they've played. So you think about that. Teams that have gone on the power play through the course of the season, and this includes when they were 0-13 or 0-12 to start the season off, they still weren't allowing many goals on the power play. Most of the goals that they had allowed were 5-on-5. And that was before they traded Freddie Cousineau to the Edmundston Blizzard. So they had a solid goaltender that obviously helps with that. But even on the penalty kill, they've been spectacular. For the Rapids, though, they've struggled on the power play, but most of their goals have been scored 5-on-5, right? So you look at the amount of power play goals that the Rapids have this season, 26 out of 154. They've had 154 power play opportunities, only scored on 26. Crucial matchups are going to be your 5-on-5. I don't think special teams are going to play a factor in this. You have a really solid penalty kill that's going to basically kill off anything that you have if you're Grand Falls. But on the other side of that, Grand Falls hasn't been completely bad on the power play or on the penalty kill either. They have a 75% over the course of the season as well. And yes, it may not be as impressive as the Truro Bearcats, but they rank not too bad in the East Lake North Division in terms of their penalty kill either. So when it comes to their PK, both teams are going to shine bright. I don't necessarily think that the power play is going to be a major factor into this. However, you never really know in these games. But I think 5-on-5 is really what's going to cause this game to gain some heat. So the Rapids obviously looking to win this game, not only to get back to 500, but they have a couple of games coming up that are going to be even tougher against 3 playoff teams within the division. They are back at the EMP Seneschal Center On Wednesday, January 27th, it is a Wednesday night game against the West Kent Steamers, a team who is second place in the division, followed by the Campbellton Tigers. They are away at the Campbellton Memorial Civic Center on January 24th, which is a Friday game, before being away the next week in Edmonton at the Jean Daig Center to take on the Blizzard, who are first place in the division. So you have 3 games against the first, second, and third place teams. You want to gain a little bit of momentum going into those games, because though they sit 21 points out of the playoffs, there's still 16 games left in the regular season, and there's a ton of time to make up some points and inch closer to the playoffs. Now, they're already on a 5-game losing streak. We talked about how it could be the end of the season if they did that. I don't necessarily see this as the case just yet, but if they end up losing too many games in a row, like let's say they go 7 or 8, that could be the very end of the season for them. If they don't start winning games soon, they're obviously not going to be able to catch the Miramichi Timberwolves. And with both teams in Summerside and Edmonton already clinching the playoffs, that means that the elimination process is going to start soon. And that means that the Fredericton Red Wings would be the first team out. And if Grand Falls can't start winning, that might mean that they are going to be the next team after Fredericton that's going to be eliminated. But like I mentioned, there's going to be quite a few games at home this season. Obviously, we talked about how there's going to be a 9-game stretch through the month of February. 7 of those games are at home, 2 of them on the road. The only 2 are going to be in Campbellton and in Edmonton next week and the week after, which is going to be a very high-pressured game for both sides. So if you're not watching it, or if you're not able to be there in person, watch it on Flow Hockey, cheer on the boys. And if you are able to come to the games here, 100%. Bring your jerseys, bring your hats, bring your team spirit, because this team is going to need all the support that they can get in their push for the playoffs with less than 2 months left in the regular season. With that said, we are going to talk a little bit about the goaltending matchups as well here for the Truro Bearcats and the Grand Falls Rapids. Your starting goaltenders, of course, for the Rapids, Adam LaCour, who has had a couple of really great games, but has also struggled a little bit this season. 8-14, 0-3 on the season with a 419 goals against and an 895 save percentage, setting the tone for the second time rather this week, setting the tone in terms of his goaltending stats this season. On the other end of the ice, you have Alexis Cournoyer, who has struggled a little bit, but has also proven his brilliance time and time again. 8-11, 0-1 on the season, a 283 goals against, and third place overall in the league, a 927 save percentage. So it's going to be a very solid game. And we talked about, again, the importance of getting that first goal. Against the goalie like Alexis Cournoyer, you need to make sure that you are getting that goal past him, because once he starts to heat up, we've seen this with a couple of different goalies in the league. Jack Flanagan, when Simon Boucher was with the Edmonton Blizzard at the beginning of the season, and now the Alexis Cournoyer. This is going to be a very tough task if you can't get to his head early and pepper those shots on goal. But I'm sure that this team will be able to do it. They have a lot that they can take positively from that game on Friday. Despite the result, there were a lot of positives they can take into the game this day. And without a doubt, if they start on time, if they play a full 60 minutes, score that opening goal, make sure that they have a solid performance, and it seems like a lot to ask, but if they can do that all the time, off the top, they will get the win in this game. We'll see how the rest of the game shakes out. But until then, this has been Tyler Rains on the Bellefleur Tire Shop Grand Falls Rapids pregame show, and we will see you back here directly after the game to talk about all things that happened in this game, the preview of the upcoming games and next week and the week after, as well as what the outlook's looking like for the rest of the season. We will see you after the game, but if you haven't already done so, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, hit the little bell notification for all future content, and if you really liked it, don't forget to share it with all your friends. We will see you very shortly.